2013 was, by and large, a good year for the global consumer food service industry. Growth continued more or less at a similar rate to what we've seen over the last 4 years. However, for some of the largest players, there were some real difficulties. So McDonald's, I think, is increasingly clear, is in the midst of a transition period. Particularly in the US, its largest market. I think we're seeing a lot of the growth strategies that worked well during the recession have become harder to implement, have needed to evolve for some time, and that really came to the fore in 2013. Likewise, Yum Brands, their difficulties in China amidst a slowing Chinese economy and some very real specific brand issues for Yum Brands and KFC in particular, I think it illustrates just how much more complicated the emerging market environment is becoming. We're seeing a shift, to some degree, a slowdown in markets like China and Brazil, the markets that got a lot of the headlines over the last 5 years, while we see other regions, markets like the Gulf Cooperation Council, markets like the United Arab Emirates, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Indonesia especially, becoming more important. So the picture is becoming more complicated. And I think the Middle East and Africa, this region in particular, is a really good example of that. Well ahead of the rest of the world in terms of growth in 2013, particularly the Gulf states, particularly the United Arab Emirates. That's really a region that I think is going from pulling trends from all over the world to really perhaps starting to set some of those trends. And I think some of the largest franchise operators in that region, thinking of operators like the Alshaya group or Americana, that are bringing in so many brands, so many different concepts from around the world. I think we're going to start to see more of that expertise transferred globally, transferred to other regions. And I think that really sets up another thing that became increasingly clear in 2013 is just how many different types of company, how many different types of player are looking to get into the global food service space. So in addition to chain players like a McDonald's or a Yum Brands, we're seeing really important franchise operators like Alshaya in Mexico and Latin America, aforementioned Alshaya Group in the Middle East, bringing together so many different brands, so many different concepts. Likewise, we're seeing retailers getting into the mix. And I think this year, in 2014, we could start to see more consumer products manufacturers looking to find a way to really play in the food service space, not just in terms of supply, which is becoming increasingly difficult, but in terms of experimenting with their own concepts. And I think probably the main issue for 2014, coming off of 2013, is this idea of the battle for consumer attention. I think this is true all across really any consumer product. We see so many different channels, whether it's retailers, whether it's food service operators, whether it's consumer product brands themselves, all looking to create an experience, all looking to sustain consumer attention. And I think food service is going to become an increasingly important battleground in that regard, in terms of trying to package a unique experience, a unique brand for consumers. So looking ahead, a lot of things happening, a lot going on.